dead. All radio is dead.
Hi, this is Casey Hendrickson, and you're listening to my podcast from my radio show heard on 95.3 MNC. Don't forget to follow me online on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and Snapchat at Casey the Host. You can also find me on Instagram at ASD Knives. Thanks for listening. Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. Hey, I want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range. Go shoot things. They've got 10 lanes for you to do it. Blow stuff up. SecondAmendmentArms.net. Mention me, and you get half off your range time. You know what that means? More shooting things. So go do that right now. All right, so what do we have here? So much to talk about. My God. I'm going to run out of things to talk. Well, I'm going to run out of time. Let's just start with the Covington stuff again, okay? Why the heck not? Now, this has become so preposterous. First of all, this is a pattern. And actually, it was kind of interesting that Michelle Malkin posted about this. How many times have you heard me say on the show that there's about 10 stories that exist to attack somebody, and then the media just cycles them? So they'll do one, and then they'll go on to two. When two fails, they'll go on to three, and so on and so forth. And then once they get done with the 10th attempt, they circle right back around and they do number one again. And they've been doing this against President Trump for quite some time, but they do it against everybody when there's a personal attack here. It's very Alinskyite, right? So they go out there and they attack these kids as being racist bigots who harassed and insulted and tried to assault. Some of them actually said that, tried to assault a Native American war veteran, right? Which, of course, we already know that there's a good chunk of the people saying this about these kids who don't care about war veterans. We already know that. So now you've got a complete fabricated story where the kids are now the perpetrators in spite of the fact that the kids are the victims here. Oh, yeah, the roads suck everywhere. I'm assuming that's why everybody is calling right now. The roads are literally terrible everywhere. It's all ice everywhere you go. Slow down. Don't hit your brakes. Don't break through a turn. Go extremely slow. If you do not have studs on your tires right now, it is probably going to be bad for you to be driving around, okay? It is that bad. And if you want to go ice skating, may I recommend you come to the Federated Media Building, because our parking lot is an ice skating ring right now. So enjoy yourselves, but be careful and wear dorky helmets. All right, now back to the topic at hand. So they go ahead and they create this lie about these kids. We end up finding out that it was a lie, that it wasn't true. A bunch of people now have retracted what they said. They've apologized. They're deleting entire news stories out of this. But the vast majority are still trying to find a way to attack these kids. The point is they didn't do anything. So now they're trying to justify it. Somebody on Twitter wrote that the 5 stages of grief are in play here. And it was a brilliant post. I forget who it is. It's a brilliant post where they were going through and they were saying that they are now in the bargaining phase of the process of grief. Because, you know, the 5 stages of grief. And if there's a loss, you go through these different stages. One of those stages is bargaining. When you lose somebody, what you tend to do is, God, please take me instead, bring them back. It's a bargaining, right? So now what they're doing is they are trying to say, well, everything we said about these kids the other day was wrong, but they're still bad, and here's why. And sometimes they're bad for as little as just wearing a red Make America Great Again hat. Now, there's what? I don't know, 100 or 200 students there. One kid had a hat on. I don't even know if there was another one. So the one kid had a hat. Remember, he was targeted by Nathan Phillips, the Native American, allegedly, who went up to, I'm not saying he's allegedly a Native American, but I figured since he's allegedly a veteran, we just play with it. So he goes up and he targets this kid. He didn't target anybody else. I don't remember if there was another MAGA hat in the crowd or not. This is one kid. And so now that one kid who had the MAGA hat on means every single one of them are Trumpalite. Every single one of those kids loves Donald Trump. Every single one of those kids, or it could just be that they have a classmate who likes Donald Trump and they're not crazy to where you should burn somebody at the stake because they have a different political view as you. Stuff. You literally had a member of Congress say that we need to ban red hats. The kids shouldn't be allowed to wear red hats anymore over this. And of course he said, I was just joking. Okay, sure you were. I got money, says if you could pass that legislation, you would. Got money. So now they're running around and they're making up a bunch of other things about these kids. Okay. One of them is you go back to the basketball games and they showed the kids were making the white power symbol at a basketball game. Now, what's the white power symbol that you make with your hands? Come on, Joe, you should know. You're white. That's black power. That's not white power. You can't do that. Well, that's a Nazi salute. We'll get to a Nazi salute story today, too. Joe's got no idea, which is really weird because he's very pasty white. He should have this as a part of his DNA. So now, the white power symbol is okay. There's just one problem. This doesn't mean white power, okay? It doesn't mean white power. It's not a white power symbol at all, period, end of story. Most people will identify this as a game, all right? Most people. But when you play basketball, and in certain situations when you play basketball, what's a symbol you throw up in the air? However you do it. What does that mean?
Refs do it.
Yeah, the referees do it, right. And they can't be racist. They have black stripes. So, what does it mean? It means you went on a three-pointer, right? So the media is running around showing their basketball team all making the three-pointer sign, and they're saying, look at all of these racist white kids at Covington making the white power symbol. Even if they're not guilty for harassing this Native American alleged veteran guy, they're all racist. Look at them making the white power symbol at a basketball game. Gee, I don't know. Do you think maybe a Catholic school making a white power symbol at a basketball game would have caught attention of everybody? And Michelle Malkin pointed out there, she's like, everything that is old is new again. And she starts linking to all of these stories where people are making these false claims against white students who are on basketball teams. And then, of course, what ends up happening is, because social media can be glorious, is people start showing all of these black NBA players making the same symbol. Because it's a part of the game. So now, ladies and gentlemen, you ever heard of a blackout? Mm-hmm. Okay, Joe knows what's a blackout. Pop on the microphone. Tell everybody what a blackout is at a sporting event.
Where usually the student section wears a all black and puts on black face paint and to show that they're all together to support the team.
Okay, and the whole point of a blackout, there are white outs, there are red outs, there are blue outs, there are green outs, but blackouts are the most popular because it creates a menacing environment. This is the whole point of a blackout. So now there's a picture floating around of Covington students wearing, and I quote, racist blackface
News Channel,
at a sporting event and yelling at a black player for the other team. And clearly it's a blackout event. All of the students are wearing black. A few of the students who are not wearing shirts have their whole bodies painted black, their whole face painted black. This is what you do at a blackout event, okay? This is perfectly normal. This is standard practice. I actually linked to an article from several years ago explaining what a blackout is and how popular they had become, especially in college football. And all of the teams that have been doing it, but the article praised the Chicago White Sox because nobody had done a blackout event quite like the Chicago White Sox. And but this is just it. They're doing everything they can to attack these kids. Everything. And at the end of the day, all it is them bargaining. They're in those 5 stages of grief. They're bargaining. Please, we're really not all that bad for making this stuff up about these kids. Look how awful these kids really are. Except the kids aren't awful. They didn't do anything wrong. So now they're going out there and actively trying to fabricate stories about these kids, which could potentially get somebody seriously hurt. Ladies and gentlemen, the roads are very, very slick everywhere. If you can hear this radio station in the Michiana market, The roads are slick. Be careful. We've got more coming up on Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. I want to thank R&B Car Company, locations in South Bend and Warsaw. R&B Car Company are your used car experts. And you will need to go to R&B Car Company if you don't heed my warning right now. The roads stink, okay? They're terrible. They are basically giant sheets of ice right now. If you are using anything beyond just the extensive winter windshield wiper fluid, it's going to freeze on your window. And that happened to me throughout the day, but the roads have just got this black ice covering all of them everywhere. It is miserable. So do what you can to go slow. Give yourself extra time. If you don't need to go out, trust me, just don't. Just get through the next day or two as best as you can. But again, go extra slow. Give yourself extra time. The roads are very, very, very slippery. And with that also said, when you get out of the car, if you're in a parking lot, also be careful that you don't slip and fall, because like our parking lot right now, not joking, I can ice skate on it. And there's when I got here, one of the sales ladies for one of the other stations, she was, tiptoeing as best as she could, literally an inch at a time to get to her car without falling down. So just be extra, extra careful. Somebody quoted me in the building when I walked in and said, walk gingerly when you go to your car tonight because it's slick. Somebody said, yeah, I know, we're all going to die. So, so it was a direct Casey quote in the building. That's how bad things are. If you have anything specific, let us know, please. 574-25-95-95.3. Still talking about the latest updates on the Covington kids as they continue to be demonized for things they didn't do. Joe, welcome to the program.
Well, thanks for having me. Nice to talk to you today.
You too.
There are so many layers to this story that it touches on every, like Alinsky-esque metaphor. So, of course you have a religious angle of the kids being from a Catholic institution.
Right.
They're male, so now we have patriarchy involved. Right. Private schools, so now we're looking at economics. And you have two protected classes that are victims in all of this. So it had to be told a story. If it was false, it doesn't matter. The storyline was for the protected class had to be seen as a victim in all of this.
Yeah. And this is... It really was. It was one of those things where it was so perfect for the media narrative, and they just ran with it. It said nobody bothered to verify anything. Nobody bothered to reach out. Everybody got collectively upset about all of this. Now the people who are all wrong about it, instead of doing what Jamie Lee Curtis and Meghan McCain did and go, I snapped, I rushed to judgment, I shouldn't have, I apologize. Instead of doing that, they're going, well, they shouldn't have worn the red MAGA hat. I don't know. I only remember one kid wearing it. So I guess they're all, by association, going to be demons now.
Yeah, but the question also needs to be asked is the black Hebrew group
Israelites,
that was there that was actually shouting racial and derogatory things. Nothing is being mentioned about this.
Correct. Yeah, and when I was posting about this on Sunday, I was like, this is insane. Like, they posted the video. You realize that 2 hours of video comes from the black Hebrew Israelites. I mean, that's their video.
So and then you have, this, and then I watched most of the video. I haven't watched it all, but because of that conflict, I think that's where the Native American gentleman found it in to interject himself into this because he is a trained provocateur.
Correct. He's an Occupy activist. He's been doing this since at least 2015. We know who Nathan Phillips is. And I'm glad that people are finally picking apart his military record because he's not being honest there. His timeline isn't right.
That's a whole other angle as well, too. But
exactly.
Thank you for letting me on the air.
I appreciate it, bud. Thank you much. Take care.
Thanks.
All right, so now here's where things get real interesting, okay? Where do you think the story started? I mean, obviously the event happened. But where do you think that 1.5 to 3 minute clip, depending on which clip you saw first, that started this, where do you think that originally got posted and originally set the viral trend in motion? Where do you think that happened? Anybody? It was a Twitter account. And I'm going to give you a bit of information. Twitter has now banned that account. Anybody know why? Because it was a fake account. The account pretended to be a teacher from California. A teacher from California with 40,000 Twitter followers. Anybody buy that? Uh-huh. Every time I get to 7,000 followers, Twitter erases 5,000 of them. So I'm perpetually at 2,600. They will not let me go beyond that. Every time I go beyond that, they delete followers from me. So now you've got a teacher from California who allegedly has 40,000 followers on Twitter, stinks to high heaven of a fake account. Twitter does their research. Twitter finds out it is a fake account from somebody in Brazil. So this entire Covington thing was an outside source meddling in our affairs. So here, just so we have a quick little summary here. We know, because we have the documents, the anti-fracking campaign in the United States was started by the Russian government. Okay? We know that a lot of the global warming being caused by man is funded by the Russian government. We know that a lot of the anti-coal stuff is funded by the Russian government. You can say that those three are about the same thing. I'm just giving you extra little tidbits here. We know that a lot of the anti-Trump rallies that were organized, especially right after he won the presidency, were organized by Russian agents who are assumed, again, to be funded by the Russian government. And so we've got all of these things that are inflammatory in our society that we keep catching. I'm not trying to harp on Russia here. We just happen to know that these other things from emails and documents that we have happen to be from Russia. But we've got all of these. China was responsible for one of them not too long ago. I don't remember which one. We have all of these outside influences looking at us and going, that's a powder keg. Let's go ahead and throw a match on it. And that's exactly what just happened. But it was somebody in Brazil. I mean, allegedly in Brazil. I mean, who knows that they're actually in Brazil. But it was a Brazilian registered account that created this fake profile of a teacher in California, has 40,000 followers, started this entire thing. Okay? It was all, from the very get-go, a social media operation from somebody in Brazil, folks. And look at what it's done. Look at it. And all we're talking about are high school students that we actually have video evidence are innocent of any wrongdoing. And people are still attacking them because one stupid account in Brazil got this thing going. So now the lawyers, we heard whispers yesterday that the lawyers for these kids are looking at suing. So this is what we have here. The blowback from the egregiously irresponsible reporting of most mainstream media outlets about the contextless viral video of the boys from Kentucky's Covington Catholic High School harassing and threatening, in quotes, a Native American protester could include some legal headaches for some of the reporters and outlets. In a tweet that's made headlines, Robert Barnes, a trial lawyer based in Los Angeles, issued an unequivocal warning to the New York Times' Maggie Haberman about her. She should be out of a job anyway for other things. About her report on the Covington kids. Quote, I will represent the kids for free if they want to sue Maggie at the New York Times for libel. Interesting. Wow. I hope it happens. Because as I've told you before, I'm not a lawsuit guy, but until people start suing when they have been slandered by the press, you're not going to put the press back in the box of doing responsible journalism. Because right now you have media outlets who are running around. Look at every time the president has been slandered with something that wasn't true. The president's like, I'm going to sue you guys. If you're going to say that I'm assaulting my wife, I'm going to sue you. And the press going, well, we're the press. We have freedom to say whatever we want. No, you don't. And you can't hide behind that. Libel is libel. Now, the White House has also issued a statement, report earlier, and I did post about this, report earlier that the Covington kids were being invited to the White House. The White House says that has not yet happened, but they used the word yet. So it may very well happen. So you don't have to make a fake bomb and go to school to get invited to the White House, apparently. So it looks like the White House may invite these kids to go visit the White House. But the White House did issue a statement and say that they have not done that as of yet. So if we get any updates on that, we will let you know.
All radio is dead.
Hi, this is Casey Hendrickson, and you're listening to my podcast from my radio show heard on 95.3 MNC. Don't forget to follow me online on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and Snapchat at Casey the Host. You can also find me on Instagram at ASD Knives. Thanks for listening.